Hello everyone, this is Codod. Welcome back to a new video. In this video, I want to show you how to create a step progress in Vue.js 3 using Composition API. So this is the end result. Right now, step 1 is active. We have these two buttons right here, and if we click on this next step, you can see step 1 is done, step 2 is active, step 2 is done. Now step 3 is active, and so on. Now step 3 is done. Of course we can go back if we want, and we also have that nice animation effect. Have prepared a new installation of Vue.js 3, and this is my app.vue. Remove that CSS from that, import the CSS file from main.js, we do not need it, and delete everything from components. We have to create a new component, so step progress.vue. We start with script setup because we want to use Composition API, and then the template, and then we say hello world like this. Back to our app.vue, import this component, so import step progress from, let's see, components, then step progress, and add it to the template, so step progress like this, and you can see hello world. Okay, in this step progress component we have to define some props because we want to pass some data from app to our step progress.vue. Basically this is how we pass data from the parent to the child. So using Composition API we have to say import define props, this is the helper from Vue, and then we say const, let's see, data define, well, not data, const props, define props, we pass an object, and here we define the props that we want to have, basically just one prop data, and this is going to be of type object. Okay, back to app.vue. We have to define the data that we want to use for our step progress. This is how I imagine this step progress to work. I want a steps array. This is where I want to store every single label for every single step. So I have 3 steps. Current step is going to be 1, but we have to decrease it by 1 because this arrays in JavaScript start from 0. So the current step is 1, but we are actually starting with step 0. And then I want 2 more properties, active color and passive color, and I want to use Tailwind colors, Tailwind CSS, search for colors. I want to use this brighter green for passive and this darker green for active. Okay, and now in the template step progress we have to pass the data for that data prop, so we say data like this. This is how we pass data. This is the name of the prop, and this is basically the data. Of course this is the name I chose, but we can say, for example, data steps. It doesn't matter. This is important because this is the name of the prop that we want to pass the data into. So back to step progress.vue, console log props dot data, save, refresh the browser, inspect, console, perfect, and you can see the result here. Okay, now props data, let's see, current step, we decrease it by 1, and right now I want to define some reactive data, so ref, this is how we define reactive, well, it's just one way how we define reactive data and using Composition API. So let's see, const data ref, and I want to pass props data. Perfect. Now we can actually start working on the template. Okay, so we have div class, let's see, steps container, ul class steps list, and I want an li of class step, step, and then I want to define v4 step index. This is basic Vue.js in data steps. Then we have to define that key. Let's see, index. Let me use word wrap. Perfect. Right here I want to define that circle, so step bubble, and then the line step div class step line, that percentage line, and then the fill step let's see, line fill, like this. Okay, and I think we are done for now with the template. I want to use those two colors in my CSS, so for this I want to use a computed property. So bring in this computed helper, const CSS style, let's see, computed, pass an arrow function. This is going to return an object. I want to use CSS variables, so we have to use this syntax, so dash dash active color. This is going to be data dot value. This is how we work with the ref. We have to say data dot value dot and then active color, property that we want to access. You can read more about the ref in the docs. Passive color, data dot value dot passive color. Okay, and now I want to bind this CSS style computed property to the style attribute of this container, and I want to say CSS style, so that I can have access to those two variables inside the basically for every single element from this container. Okay, now style scoped like this, and we start with steps. Let's say steps container with 95% just for testing, margin 0 auto, and then steps list, display flex, let's see, list style known. Okay, now for the step, so step display flex, align item center, flex grow 1, so that every single step has, every single li has equal width. We set 1. Okay, max width 100%, position relative, because I want to position absolute those percentage lines, and then height, let's see, 60 pixels, because that's the height. This is going to be the height of our circles, of those bubbles when they are scaled up. And then step bubble with 35 pixels by default, height 35 pixels, border radius 50%. Let's see, transition, well, not transition, let's start with background color, and then we say var. This is how we read CSS variables, and then we say passive color, and then you can see that we have those three circles, bubbles, so to say, for our 3 steps. And then we can say transition, so that we have that nice animation effect, all 0.3 seconds is. And then display flex, let's see, align items center, justify content center. Perfect. Now for those percentage lines, step line with 100%, height 5 pixels. I want the same background color. Let's see, top 50%, left 0, transform translate on y-axis minus 50%, so that it is uh, on the center for the y-axis. Let's see. Let's make this bigger. There's something wrong. See, z index minus 10. Okay. Let's take a look at our step bubble. So with height, good, justify content, align items, border radius, flex grow, max width, height 60 pixels. I think we can set this to 100%. Let's see, position relative. Of course, we forgot to add position absolute to step line. So position and then say absolute. Perfect. You can see that the first step also has a line, and this is something that we do not want. So let's see, step last child, and then step line, and then we say display none. But we also have to make sure to remove the width of this last li, basically this last step, because if we click inspect, and you can see that it has the same width as the others LIs, and this is something that we do not want for the last LI. So let's see, step last child with 60 pixels, and let's say max width 60 pixels. Perfect. Okay, now that we are done with this, we have to add a class for the active steps. So let's go back to our template. We have to bind this class attribute, and I want to use the ternary operator. So we have to say, let's see, if the index is equal with data current step. This is how we work with reactive data in our template. Then question mark, then I want to use this step active class, otherwise I want to use nothing, no class. So step active, step bubble with 60 pixels, height 60 pixels, step bubble, step active. Let's see. So if index, oh, my mistake, like this, refresh, and of course the first element is active because current step is actually 1. But what about the second element? Let's see, current step 2. Well, if the current step is not the first step, I want all the previous steps to actually be scaled up. So back to our step progress.view, add a semicolon, and I want to add a new ternary operator. So if index is less than data current step, then question mark, then I want to add this class step done, otherwise I want nothing. So going back right here, let's see, we can actually do something like this, and we can say step done. Perfect. Okay, now we are done with this. What about the lines, those percentage lines? So we have to write some CSS for step fill. I think this is the name of this class. Well, line fill. Okay, line fill. This is going to be with let's see, what about the line fill? Let me check my notes. of course width 0, height 5 pixels, background color, this is going to be var active color, and transition, let's see, all 0.3 seconds is. Of course we also have to set active colors for step active and step done. Let's see, we can copy this from here. Perfect. So we have line fill. So let's see, step active, line, I think this is well, step done, line fill, and then we say width 100%. Perfect. And we can see that we have 100% percentage on this first line. Okay, now we can add those two buttons to go to the next and to the previous step, but before doing that, basically what I want to do is to expose some data from this child component to the parent component. So we can say, we can bring this define expose, this composition API helper. Now we have to define those two, the data that we want to expose, and this is going to be const next step, like this, like this. This is going to be an arrow function, so we want to make sure we do not go beyond the number of steps. So if data value current step is less than data, let's see, data value steps length, only if this is the case, data value current step plus plus. Okay, and we can copy this, previous step, and we want to make sure this is greater than 0, and then we say minus minus, like this, and finally define expose, and we pass an object with the data that we want to expose, and then we want next step, and let's see, previous step, and we are done. Now back to app.vue. I want to import ref once again, import ref from Vue. So we need a way to actually work with that exposed data, and on our step progress component we have to say ref and then give it a name, step progress. So this is actually how we are going to access this step progress. Now we have to define const step progress, like this. You have to use the exact name, the one that you have used with this ref attribute, and then say ref nothing. And now we have access to the exposed data of this step progress component, and we can add those two buttons. So button, let's see, we can say click step progress previous step, like this, step, and we can copy this, next step, next step, and let's see, perfect. But I want the first percentage line to be 50%. So back to step progress.vue. Let's see, we have to add a new class right here. So once again, semicolon after the last ternary operator. So we have to say if index is equal with 0, and let's see, and just a moment to check my notes, index is equal with data current step, then question mark, then step let's see, done in advance, otherwise nothing. So I want to use this class, back to CSS right here, and I want to say, let's see, line fill with 50%. Save, refresh, and you can see, let's refresh this once again. Well, app.view, check, change this current step to 1, refresh, perfect. So it's not actually 50%, well it is, but because this percentage line is actually has left 0, we can't really see 50%, but it's working just like this. We can make it bigger. Perfect. Okay, the next thing that we have to do is to add those numbers 1, 2, 3 to know on which step, at which step, uh, which is the active step. So back to step progress.view. Let's see, inside the step bubble we can say div class step count like this, and we can say index plus 1. This is what I want to show. Refresh. Okay, so let's see step bubble. After this class step count, color white, font weight 500, font size 20 pixels. Perfect. And I only want to use this for the active, so display none. Scroll down, let's see, I think right here, step active, step count, display block like this. Perfect. Okay, and I also want that check this one, so go to svgrepo.com, search for check, this check icon, this one, open image new tab, view page source, and copy this. In our components, make a new folder, icons, then a new component. Let's see, icon done.view, then template like this, and close this svg, and you want to give this a class of, let's see, step done icon. Perfect. Close this. We have to import this component, so right here, import step done, let's step done icon from icons, let's see, well, icon done, let's name it like this, icon done. Okay, back to our template. After this step count div, icon done, let's see, after step count class, icon done, fill, this is going to be white, width, let's see, 30 pixels, height 30 pixels, save, refresh. Well, let's check one more time the class, step icon done, so step icon done, refresh, step icon done, well, step done icon, my mistake, like this. Perfect. And I only want to show this for the step done class, so display none, let's see, I think right here, well, right here, step done, step done icon, and I want to say display block like this. Let's see, next step, perfect, step 2, perfect, perfect. One more thing that we have to do is to add those labels. So after the step bubble, let's see, before the step line, add a new div, the class of step label, and a value of, let's see, step like this. Okay, perfect. And now we have to write the CSS for this. Let's see, step not right here, line fill, I think right here, step label, let's see, font weight 500, font size 18 pixels, position absolute, bottom minus 30 pixels, opacity 0.3. Okay, and we want to give this step container margin bottom of 30 pixels like this, well, more 40, perfect. Okay, so we have this step label, and for the step active, and then step label, and then step done, and step label. I want to say opacity 1. Let's see, is this working? Step active dot step label, step done dot step label, perfect. Let's see. Of course you can use any color that you want. Basically I can say right here, let's see, use this let's see, active color right here, well, color var active color like this, and right here I can go with passive color. Refresh, and this is our project. Everything is working fine. This project is done. I hope you have learned something really useful. See you next time.